All right, we're gonna call the town council meeting October 2nd order at 5:30. Hearing on disconnects. The sheet is in front of you.
Don't have anyone too huge, but I make a motion to go with disconnects.
Is anybody here?
Not me, no,
Okay.
not this.
Sorry, just making sure. Jackie. And
I'll
then
second.
Lynn. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Public comments, is that you?
I assume so.
Yeah, what's your name?
Hi, my name's David Aguado. A-G-U-A-D-O.
Can you spell it again?
Sure, A, G is in George, U-A-D-O.
I missed the A.
So yeah, I had talked to Tim, I believe, I recognize your voice. I've been interested in purchasing 23 West Oxford Street, the former Steps to Success daycare. What I would like to do is turn it into a residence, make it into, say, like a one bed, one bath house. And of course, it's zoned commercially. And so I can't find financing, or I don't really want to bother a real estate agent to come out unless the zoning issue was addressed. And so I know that can't be handled here, but Tim recommended that I attend the meeting and maybe make it clear to some of you guys that there's some other sort of board meeting that would make that zoning decision later. So
You have the correct steps in there.
Which house is that, Tim? It's not Pam Cobb's, is it?
It's the one right next to KA.
Yeah.
Or Shelley
It's a one door right there.
Okay, gotcha, okay.
So yeah, it seemed to have been for sale for several years.
Yes,
Has a very good price, and from pictures that I can see online, assuming I just need to add like a shower and then like a kitchenette, and the office meets the requirements for being a bedroom. So I don't intend to build it into a tall, massive building or anything. And I had seen that just to the left of it is a residence, but I've now learned that it's within your business district. So it would be, of course, up to you guys' decision on how the zoning would go.
the right of it is apartments, though. We have apartments and a business and then that in the middle of it, right?
I believe it's a house and then a business and then K components.
Okay.
I think the
Yeah.
ones, apartments, and then a house, and then that.
Okay,
Kirkhoff's on the corner.
Corner,
The
and then-
business that he's talking about.
right, and then a
is
house
in
or an
the house.
apartment, okay. And you want it to become a house, right?
Correct, yeah.
Are you wanting to put any type of a business like in the front?
No, it would be
Just all
mixed
house.
use, it would just be purely residential as a rental property. Because, I've lived in Audubon for 4 years. It's an amazing town. I love it here.
Thank
The way
you.
I work in Lafayette. I'm sure a lot more people want to live out here, but of course, finding places to rent unless you're just buying a house outright, it's hard to get out here.
So what do we need to do, Tim?
It'll have to go to ABC.
Okay. Is it possible?
Yes.
I know. It goes APC first,
And then they go, and then it comes over to us.
and then it comes to us,
Yes.
or does it go to the other one?
Then it comes to you. So the
I
process
get
was,
confused with all the alphabet letters.
yeah, it goes to APC first.
Okay.
And then if they don't approve it, it comes to you. If they do approve it, it comes to you. If you don't approve it, then they can appeal to BZA.
That's the ordinance, that's. Isn't it crystal clear? I'm still getting used to all the alphabets.
So yeah, that's basically my intent for that. I don't know if you guys had any questions or anything, but that's all I got.
No, just proceed with the process.
I mean,
and
I'd
see
rather
what
have
happens.
Somebody in the house than it's
Right.
sitting vacant, and if it's
Right,
sitting
'cause it's been
vacant,
empty for quite a while.
Since the business.
So yeah, I'll just need to find out, I guess, when this APC meeting is. I don't know if I personally have to attend it or if it would just come up.
You should,
should.
so I've got your number, so we'll be in contact, because we are trying to set up another meeting for APC, so as soon as we know the date of that, and we have to publicize it, I'll let you know.
All right. I will have to leave. I work 2 jobs and have to get to my other one.
That's
So,
fine.
That's fine,
But-
that's fine.
okay, thank you guys so
So
much.
if
for
you
your
have
time.
Tim's contact, then he'll keep in touch with you then about it.
Okay, great. It was a pleasure meeting all of you.
Yes, you
Thank you
too.
for hearing me out.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
I mean, it is a business, if it is turned in, we might lose business, but.
Wow, but the business has been empty for quite a while.
I know when I first started, I had to ask the question, because when I first started, he said he'd be willing to put a business in the front.
If he had to.
Right.
It's not a very big place.
No.
You
No,
gotta
it's
put a
not.
business in the front.
Well, it was a beauty shop and then it was the little preschool thing or whatever that was and.
Right.
I just get worried that, we've lost a lot downtown because we allowed apartments when we shouldn't have downtown in the bottom areas.
Mhm.
And so we want more business, but just like we have no housing, we have no space for business either.
Has anybody come in even wanting the businesses though, or that we
We
can?
don't really hear that.
Right. And that building's been empty for
Mhm.
at least, 3 years, maybe? 4 years, it's been a while.
That's one of the, in one of the other meetings, what Matt Washburn came in, who's got listed.
Right,
And
right.
said something about, would we be willing to look at changing the zoning for that piece of it, one obviously down at, across from the dugout.
Okay.
The dugout's got more visibility for business.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay.
Okay, 2026 budget adoption.
Just Okay. We did not have any, after the public hearing, we did not have anybody file a petition against our budget, so therefore there's no petition to look at. So therefore, ordinance 2025-1002A is the ordinance to adopt the 2026 budgets for the Casino Riverboat Fund, Rainy Day Fund, General Fund, Local Road and Street Fund, Motor Vehicle Highway Fund, Cumulative Capital Improvement Fund, Cumulative Capital Development Fund, Economic Development Income Tax Fund, Public Safety Fund, and DOT Grant Fund. So those will be the funds that you will be adopting, which matched exactly what was publicized in the public hearing.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-1002A.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Approval of the September 2025 minutes.
I move to approve the 2025, September 2025 minutes.
I'll second.
Would you like that?
Are you done?
Craig? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Jim?
Just here to present just the annual review of the insurance. Blake or I have met with Ron and Treva and the different department heads to go over their different items on there. This year is a little different because we got a property quote from Chubb EMCs who we've had in the past for 20-some years. The reason we're looking at Chubb and we're recommending them, EMC has gone to wind and hail deductible, which is $10,000 per building per location, which for our small towns is just a bit much and for the rainy day fund to handle. Where Chubb is just a flat 5,000, just like we've had in the past.
Okay.
So we are recommending them. The difference in the property values got a little over 13 million. That's up about $1 million from last year because of inflation, materials and labor that we're seeing. So we adjusted those so we don't fall behind. Let's say you got the 5,000, you got 5,000 for earthquake limit, $25,000 deductible for earthquake, where EMC was 10%. So if we had, one of the water towers or something fell, or one of our big buildings, we're gonna have more than 25,000. So we like the fixed amounts because we know how to budget for those. Got the special coverage form, replacement costs. We got business income or extra expense for $1 million. What that's gonna do is, say, for like Goodland and lost the water tower like they did, we gotta bring in water. There's extra expense for that. The water and the sewers are two income producing items for the town. So if we had a failure at the sewer treatment plant, the extra expense to get that up and going again. We don't have any flood coverage. I'm hoping we don't have that problem in Audubon. But there's nothing for that. And as I mentioned, EMC is a per location where Chubb is an occurrence. So our recommendation is to go with Chubb for the property part. The scheduled equipment and tools, yeah, 302,000. Those we've gone over with Jason and with Ron and made any adjustments on that. You got blanket tool, the police equipment, obviously Jason's deductible there. We have some hardware coverage for the computers and software expense, which has just been the same as it has in the past. On our vehicles, we got the $1 million worth of liability and the 5,000 med pay. The med pay would come in if somebody other than an employee would have to be in the car, a spouse or a sibling or something like that. We would have coverage for them. If there was a liability situation, it comes into liability, but the employee would be covered by workers' comp. We got a $1,000 deductible for collision and comprehensive. The only difference is on police vehicles. There's a $2 million minimum for comprehensive and collision. They seem to be in have the most exposures. And so the companies have gone to minimum there. We haven't had very many claims in the past, so it should not be a problem. The hired car non-ownership picks up any employee that would be using her car like Treva would use her car to run errands or something, or anyone on behalf of the town. We will cover the town. Treva has her own auto policy to cover her, but if the town gets brought into it, that's the coverage that the town would be for defense there. And we list the different vehicles. The question I had, we still have farmers emergence on the 2010 Ford 350. Are we still financing that, or is it paid off now?
That is paid off.
Okay, all right. I checked last year, we still had a little bit to go on it, so we will take that off. A little bit of
We
crime.
have not had any money on the Ford F-350 for a long time. We still have a loan with Farmers and Merchants, but that is for the Bobcat.
Okay, so, okay, all right, we'll take them. I got them on the Bobcat, but we had them at one time on the 350, so, okay,
Yeah.
we'll take that off. We got a little bit of crime coverage. If we had someone who was unbonded, it would happen to take some money there. Liability, you got the $1 million with the $3 million aggregate, 10,000 medical expenses, anything that happened on the properties that really didn't do anything wrong. We feel bad that it happened. Most likely thing is a park, that we'll go ahead and take care of it, even though there's no liability. Employee benefits would be if we hire someone and forget to get them on health insurance and an accident would happen or a claim would happen, we would have coverage for that less the deductible. Picks up all the town premises, of course your water company, failure to provide if someone would come back because we're not supplying them water. That comes into play if you got anything that's got sprinkler systems. We have a fire, we don't have any water to put that out with. Your product liability is your water. The guys in the town that do the herbicide and pesticide application, mosquito spraying, we have coverage for that. And sexual abuse or misconduct. Public officials, picking up you guys, for if you got brought into a suit, the deductible is now a minimum of $5,000, was $2,500. There again, as long as we're doing everything right, we shouldn't have a problem. We haven't had it any in the past. Employment practice is the same way. There again, if for some reason we would let somebody go, obviously we're working through Judd and doing it the right way to get all the T's crossed and I's done so that we don't have a problem. The case there is just documentation. you know, if you're letting someone go, they can document it. And then the law enforcement picks up liability if they get brought into something. We got the $4 million umbrella that sits on top of all of our liability. That normally will come into play with an auto accident, more than likely. It can be the most serious, but it also can pick up, you know, if someone got hurt during the town festival or something like that, we would have coverage for it. Cyber coverage, you talk about that a little bit. We've got two companies, CFC. We've been with Beasley. We're recommending to go with CFC for obvious reasons, about half the cost. They kind of got a niche now in municipalities, and so they are attuned to what happens there and the intricacies of that. The Benton County Library, we have them with CFC. We got Warren County with CFC. The only requirement is they require you to download an app on your computers. And for what that is, we call them and you've been hacked, they can automatically get access and lock things out before something happens. So it's just an app. You call me, they're able to get access, lock things down, see what damage they've done, if any, and then start the prevention that we have to have. Warren County and Benton County, both, it wasn't a big deal. They just put it on there and it's just sitting there until something happens. But it's what they look at it as a risk, being able to avoid risk because they can immediately get in and lock your computer down if those guys are in there doing something destructive versus, okay, we got to get signed in, we got to get you signed in, we got this computer signed in. They can automatically get in there and take care of it. So I don't know if that's a problem or not, but it hadn't been with the ones we have. And it's just like an app you have on your phone. It just sits there, and then they have access if they need to. And they can't get in until we call them and say, hey, we got a claim, we got a potential claim, we think, and so that they can immediately access the unit that it's been affected by. But we're recommending we go with that one, and because the savings and the coverage is all the same. And then your workers' comp picks up, of course, all the injuries that we have for employees, disability income, and also death benefit. Who's covered? The town, all your governing boards, employees while they're active in their scope of duties. Any volunteers, if you have people that help out the park or something, then they get brought into it. And then includes past, present, and future board members or individuals. So at some point in time, you decide not to be on the board, but then you get brought into it, we're gonna go ahead and defend you and bring you into it. And then if for some reason one of the employees acts as a good Samaritan and sees someone and they get brought into suit because they say they caused further injury, we're gonna cover them for that as long as they're not a practicing doctor or an RN or something like that, which most guys are. And then I just made a list just of claims to see what we had. But that is the coverage review.
I'm gonna ask you to send me the equipment list again, because I didn't get a copy of that.
Oh,
They
okay.
usually share that with me.
Sure.
But especially since Russell is now in charge of all the equipment and
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
I wanna make sure we have it
Yeah,
listed.
we just got it on spreadsheet.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I haven't.
Yep, I'll give it to you tomorrow. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that with Ron and Jason, but yeah, you need it for your successor report, make sure we don't miss something. Sometimes they forget about things.
Right.
So I guess are we okay with moving to CFC for the cyber coverage?
I
About
think
half
it's
the
the
cost.
same, it's the same.
Coverage is all the same.
Same, except it's cheaper, so I don't have a problem doing it half of it.
Was that the company that we sent the extra, like I sent more information and
Yep,
then
in
they were
order to
like,
get-
yes,
yep.
this is okay?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the multifaceted, they're all money, so we gotta have that.
Do we need motions for the new companies or just as an overall?
Just as an overall, that you can proceed.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then I don't have a problem with Chubb either.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to go ahead with the Hoosier Associates with
Recommendations.
Chubb and on property and CFC on cyber liability.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
But I'll get hold of you two guys, get your bond signed as soon as I get paperwork back for
Okay, great. Thank you.
them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Guys, have a great day.
You too, thanks.
You want to cover me? Yeah. A little cozy in the corner.
Just leave a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay, I had asked Judd to put together, they have changed the wall. And, I think this is easier for us, so I had him put together an ordinance that obviously you haven't seen because I got it this afternoon, but, late this afternoon, but that's okay. What it is where we have not been able to do any advanced payments. We weren't allowed to do any advanced payments. So as things keep moving in the world the way it does, vendors are wanting a certain percentage down to like order their supplies and stuff to come. Well, we've never been able to do that. They changed the law. So there's new economic code and it allows us to do advanced payments. And then there is just up to 50%. And then in order to do that, the clerk treasurer will have to track prepayments as defining the prepayments on the purchase order, which I do use the purchase order system anyway, create a prepayment invoice associated with the purchase order. And if by chance the project would happen to be more than, the amount of the prepayments is more than $150,000, then we would require a surety bond. And advanced payments cannot exceed the lesser of 50% of the entire cost of the contract or $2 million. But we can now do that's the maximums we can do. And there's more steps to me, but it is gonna make things much easier for us to be able to negotiate and get, because there's been times we've not gotten the lowest bidder because we can't do prepayments. So this will make life easier for us.
I mean, we've had several in the this year that has wanted prepayments and we can't do prepayments, so. Is that ordinance or is that?
It's ordinance,
25-10.
B, C, let's use D. 1002D.
D.
I'll make a motion to approve 2025-1002D.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Okay. Amy and I sent it to Judd. Shannon, our grant writer, is now going to work for Baker Tilly. Baker Tilly, is honoring her current clients at the rates that they that she's always charged us. She's just gonna be working under Baker Tilly rather than her private company now. But because we had not seen Baker Tilly contracts before, I sent it to Judd for review, and he said everything looks fine to him. So as long as you're good with Judd's recommendation, it will be $60,000, which is normal for her. This is for the wastewater project grant administration. And then $5,000, I think that's labor standards.
I believe so.
Labor standards, so. If you guys so choose to sign this Shannon's grant agreement today, she would greatly appreciate it. We are on a very, very short window, which I think Dave can speak of when we get to him for the wastewater project.
I'll make a motion to go with Shannon's contract with Baker Tilly.
Awesome.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Is that all from Jen?
I believe that is it.
Okay, Dave,
Okay, so the first thing's the two pay applications. We could talk about the trail as well a little bit. The bridge went
the bridge is
in
in.
yesterday, was set, yesterday midday around 11 noon. You have copies on their docket for the pay application.
So I had sent them to them.
Okay.
in
That's
their
fine.
Email.
So we have one for the trail and one for fluke, public road approach, which is funded through CCMG. So there's two actual contracts with Milestone, one for the trail, one for the
Which one are you gonna start with?
whichever's the first. The trail one. And so this is actually for work up through the end of August. And less retainage, the amount due this estimate is $222,947.92. That doesn't include $24,771.99 that we will withhold in retainage. So most of this work was earlier than what you've seen recently, clearing the right of way, excavating out the topsoil cut for the trail, preparing the subgrade, and putting in quite a bit of the stone. I don't know if it's all of it or not. So this is a little bit old. We already have one now, I think, that we're working on processing for work completed in the month of September. So we would recommend you approve that payment application number one.
I'll make a motion to approve application 1.
I'll second.
All in favor? All opposed?
Have a copy of the other one.
Would be the, let's see, food, is it the?
Which one is it?
It's fluke, drive
Just up on the-
approach CCMG 2020. Hold up there. I'm finding it here. I've got it.
Payout.
So this one is for just the CCMG portion of the public road approach, is for the month of September. And it is really just for the lump sum items, half of the lump sum items for construction, engineering, mobilization, demobilization, clearing right and maintaining traffic. They will, for October, they will have quite a bit more work included in that. This payment application number one, less retainages for the amount of $6,525 and does not include $725 in retainage that we're withhold. So if there's any questions on that, we wanted to keep these together so that it's easier for everybody when we're tracking this as we close the projects out when they're done. So that's why we're doing one now.
Make the motion to approve.
All in favor? All opposed?
While we're talking about the trail, before we go on to the other items on the agenda, we've been having regular progress meetings. I don't know if you're interested in getting the progress meeting reports, but attached to those is a schedule and any updates. I haven't got one from last Thursday's meeting, but this is from the meeting prior. Their schedule has not slid any. In fact, it might be a little bit ahead. The bridge it was predicted, or it was forecasted to be installed on October 1st, and that worked out perfect. So
When do
they,
they start paying? Next week?
well,
It's in 2 more weeks.
2 weeks?
yeah, it's 2 more weeks, but I'm not sure that's not, maybe a little sooner.
I would assume as soon as they're done with the Fluke intersection that they would.
Yeah, they need to pave that and get that open to traffic, and they probably will put some pavement down on the trail itself. Certainly the part from Fluke out to Fleurs looked like it was prepped for paving to me driving in this evening. It's been compacted in place. They've got the concrete ADA ramps poured at all locations, it looked like. Like I said before the meeting, I think concrete is getting close to wrapping up, if not wrapping up, so that crew may be off-site now. But paving should be within the next 2 weeks, certainly, if not sooner.
And you're still working, trying to get the concrete
Yeah, so
center for.
2 items on the trail schedule of values were not needed. They were for undercutting soft soils and places during the base construction for the trail. So the undercut itself and then the material that goes in the undercut weren't needed. And that's just over $57,000 of savings that aren't going to be needed for the trail project. So on the bid, the various bids we did on this, we have an idea, a pretty good idea of what the concrete paving at the park, the prior park will cost, as well as what the foundations for the future shade sale would cost, and that's well underneath $57,000. It's $40-some thousand. So I'm trying to work through that now at Milestone, one, because those prices are over a year old, and if the concrete crew is done, do they have concerns about mobilization for that crew back in? But there's not gonna be, one, cheaper time to get the work done, or easier way to get it done and have it funded. So we've talked to them also about a list of amenities that were in the original alternate bid for Prior Park as envisioned, fully built out with landscaping beds and boulders and park benches and bike loops and the shade sail structure. We did not entertain a dog drinking fountain.
No,
That was like $25,000.
I don't think any dog needs that expensive of a dog drinking fountain.
There's puddles all over the place.
They get it for free, even if it's frost-free.
Right.
Yeah.
We've been working with Russell on potential water service just to get it to the park now while it's torn up and have that available for future use to tie on to. And I need to get probably the quote with you for the shade sail if you're happy with that example, or that one that we had a quote package put together for, and that was right at $15,000. That includes the engineering and drawings as well as the entire structure and the shade. We just need to make selections on colors and stuff like that.
We've already looked at it.
I did read that quote further, and it's 4 to 6 weeks for the engineering and drawings and 5 to 7 weeks from fabrication and shipping. So we're probably need to look to get what we can underground or on the ground done, and then start looking at maybe some things happen in the spring, and maybe peel some of these items off and just do a landscaping quote. But certainly utilize the savings in the Milestone contract for the trail to get the foundations for the structure as well as the concrete paving before they're gone and before they get much farther. So I don't know if I need an approval on that or final pricing on that, but I at least need to tell them it's a yes, as long as we're within what we can afford.
I would say as long as we're within our original quoted budget, we're totally fine.
Yes. And there's other donated funds, and then there'll be other reimbursed funds that are in the contract, well, not, the donated funds aren't, but there's items that the county will reimburse the town that are in the channel, near the bridge and the Oxford Street Bridge and under the pedestrian bridge that they're gonna reimburse you for. So that funding,
That was included in my budget, so.
so that could go towards these other amenities that Milestone wouldn't do potentially, so.
So did the bridge go in okay and it's the
Yeah.
right size?
Yeah.
And all of that went well?
They got a little bit of adjustments.
Well, you never know these
Yeah.
things.
No, it went in smooth.
I was gonna drive by when I came home, but then
I made Matt get in the car with me and go down and look at it, because he came home just down
I
Main Street.
still think that,
I
like you said, the approach of doing the concrete work and that, getting the trail, the shade
Foundations.
parts, foundations, and when it comes to the other stuff, like the park benches and all that, I still think we can save money and do that ourselves.
We can, yeah.
Yeah.
And even if it's a quote to like a landscape type company, they can probably do it too, or you can still do it, buy the material, whomever install it. We discussed having the town install the actual columns of the shade sail structure and connect the shade up, because we think we can handle that in-house. Not that that's a lot of probably labor costs for anybody, but then you guys know how it works and take the shade down in the future.
Yeah, he had it prints out with the blueprints and the scale and stuff that Russell and Kenny looked at them at the meeting.
So Milestone would be able to go off those blueprints that you saw.
Yeah, so we
Since
would
they
have to
weren't
lock in that specific,
So that's specific.
for the layout of the columns and some of them will be under future sidewalk that they would do after that, right after that too. So we really need to get them to commit to a pricing on at least those 2 items and then have them do the layout and construction so that it's in the right order of operation. If you will.
Okay.
And then anchoring down a bench or a picnic table or bike loops are all surface mounted. That's what was spec'd. So if we don't change from that, there wouldn't be anything else than just drilling into some anchor bolts for those types of things. Trash receptacle was the other thing on the list. And those things can be added,
A
you know,
picnic table.
picnic table, a couple benches, a
Bike
couple
rack.
bike loops, and the trash receptacle.
Because we mixed the walk out.
Well, we X'd it off of Milestone.
Yes. Maybe eventually we can get a cheaper,
We had one picked out when we were picking out all the benches and everything that we could do.
Yeah.
And it was just shy of 6,000, it was 5,000 something,
not 25.
not 25. So it was still within our budget of the donated funds. However, the issues coming up, getting water to the park.
To it, and how much is that gonna cost to get it? Yeah.
And then I think we're getting some flowers donated from the family.
Yeah, they wanted to transplant some.
Perennials, they want to transplant some perennials on there. so.
And the design had some beds identified that were just to be left blank, but there were other shrubs and grasses and perennials in the design, landscape edging, topsoil, hardwood mulch, mulching material, fertilizer, seed mixture. You know, it was a full, except for those fill-in areas, full design. And their price for that in the bid in February of '24 was $123,000, just under.
What?
But
Yeah.
that included the concrete, the foundations, the shade sail structure itself. So
Okay.
it was,
Was it dog water around that?
no, that was all for the bid too. For one of them.
We were in the project meeting, we were all looking at it, and it was like, we flipped to that, and my eyes bugged out, and I went, Reba. And they was like, what are you two talking about? I'm like, look at how much that doggy water fountain's gonna cost us.
Maybe it was back home.
Yeah, that one came off pretty quick, and
So because I keep getting questioned about this,
I've
You
been.
talked to
I've been-
Brian?
Brian, I've not talked to him, he left me a message,
Okay.
midweek last week, I was out of town. The second half of last week, and I haven't called him back. He has concerns about the width of the new driveway, and I'll call it new driveway because what was into the church's farming field just past the park, the Briar Park property line, is a large gravel area that was just wide and there was no ditch, there is no ditch. And it was very easy for whoever was farming that to come in at whatever angle with just about anything they wanted. In our design, we only are putting in and legitimizing a 12-foot wide driveway. It will be asphalt, it will be a thicker than the trail to where traffic won't be damaging it, the type of traffic they're gonna have in there. But if he expects to bring a combine or large implements in through there, it will be tough to get a semi into the field and it will not be possible to get larger.
So how will he get into the field?
Well, I haven't talked to him. There is a field access on 52, believe it or not. That is a driveway over a pipe and it's a little steeper and that might be a problem or a concern, but it's on the highway, which isn't great, but that's, I guess I can tell you that's how PennDOT would look at it as far as that's where your access is. Technically, I would call this a new driveway on Oxford Street because there's really nothing there. And because there's a structure with a lane to it, we felt we needed to put something in there. If the town feels like doing something wider, I guess how wide is wide enough is my question. And now would be the time if we're gonna pick anything up to do it. That would trigger a change order with Milestone. But I don't wanna see the trail get damaged necessarily either.
Well, he doesn't want to damage it either.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be liable, for damaging it if he can't get equipment in there.
Do we have any extra money to put it in cement?
Not
We-
that,
the
not
makeup?
that much, no.
No.
And then I don't know
We don't want
how thick, the asphalt's gonna be flexible to some degree, concrete's not. We would probably be spending quite a bit of money more to turn it into a concrete driveway.
because we know he's gonna get off of that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no
If
way.
that's where he's
he can-
gonna continue to come in and out, or whoever is farming it, that's not probably the place to access anything other than that driveway.
Right.
Well, I guess I kind of feel bad a little bit because we're putting all this in, but then they farmed that for years, but then we're not gonna let them get access into it to farm, and if they don't farm it, then what happens?
Church builds houses on it.
Um,
It's-
Because
it's
he's-
church land, so.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Because he's asking me, and I told him to call you because he wants us to sign he wants to sign some kind of something that he's not liable for damaging that
Yeah,
asphalt.
I don't think we can do that no matter how wide it is, even if it's the width he asked for. I still wouldn't recommend you sign something like that.
Well, and that's what I thought as well, but I didn't know how else he was gonna get in there to harvest.
And I didn't know that there was an access on 52 until we looked at it the other week, and it's a legitimate access for
And so is
that
that
property.
something maybe if it's not been used for a while, that it can be upgraded a little bit where he can get in and out of there?
I would say other than just being a little steeper, it's in condition to be used for farming now.
Okay, well, at least we know that.
Yes.
The downside is the highway, but as a property owner, the church has access to US Highway 52.
Right.
Bill Gross would love that he's not gonna get.
No. I'm
You
done.
know, that's a very significant
Okay,
feature of the church's property.
all right, well, I know he's gonna wanna be getting into that field, pretty quick, and,
And there's other, I don't suggest driving across the church's lawn, but
no,
there's-
he won't do that, he can't even get in there, no.
I don't know about the church's driveway and parking lot thickness, if it's any bigger than the trails.
I don't know for sure, but I would doubt that.
It's probably not as thick as what we're putting in the driveway,
Okay,
I would venture. to
well, I'm gonna leave that up to you to explain all that to him and tell him that.
Like,
You'll do a better job
implements
than me.
like 11 and a half feet wide.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why we went with 12, was to try to be the delineator between this is what it's for and this is what it's not for.
Yeah.
Because the other end of that spectrum, to try to accommodate what it's not for, 40 feet.
I mean, To
how
to
wide-
get a tractor or combine in there is gonna be astronomical.
Are we needed to put post in, just
Ballard,
as a cautionary?
Russell mentioned that, potentially. I mean, that'd do a lot better than two wide lines on the edge of the,
Yeah, the white lines, nobody's gonna pay attention to those.
just get rid of them.
Okay.
I'll return this call,
thank you.
but I wanted to talk to you guys first.
Yes.
And I was wondering, the money that's being saved, how much of that would be, it would be used to widen that if we needed to, or chose to, I should say.
I think that work at the trailhead park would be a priority to widening it and making it more convenient or more usable. But we would have to seriously, one, find out from the farmer how much width is enough. And then look at the cost of, adding that much more thicker pavement than what's been constructed right now. I don't necessarily worry too much about the precedent being set, because the other driveways along, they're not really any other driveways on the project. Whatever existing is being left alone. The other two properties are accessed on the flume. The power lines along that and the grade change kind of really limit large equipment and semis from using those other existing kind of access points near the bridge. But this one is kind of a one-off. So. Any other questions on that for the trail?
So are you guys good with him moving forward with trying to work with Milestone to get the other trail? He said he needed to know if you were gonna,
Concrete.
the concrete and stuff for the trail.
Yeah, do you need it as a motion?
Please.
I make a motion that you figure out the concrete money situation with Milestone for the trailhead park.
Second.
From the bid back in February 24, the concrete sidewalk was just over 20,000 and the foundations were just under 5 for just a point of reference. I'm not gonna say that's what it's gonna cost now, but if it's 48, that's too much. If it's 38, that's probably, let's do it. But you've got 57,000 in savings on the other two items that we don't need. So,
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
okay. What's next?
Design agreement for
Okay.
Oak Grove wastewater project.
As Treva mentioned, the schedule on this for keeping up with the grant deadlines and timelines for what's in the grant application are a challenge, and we think we can do it, but we have an agreement for your consideration tonight to do the design for the project from the preliminary engineering report that was done earlier to get the grant in the first place. Now it's time to put construction documents, plans, specifications together. Our schedule is in Appendix C. If this is approved tonight, we would do survey hopefully in November, submit construction permit applications in December. IDEM gets 30 days. That gets us through the holidays also. And that gets us, the due date for us is January 23rd to have basically plans and specifications done so we can go on into the advertising and other process that has to happen.
You all missed Chris having a heart attack when we were talking to Shannon. He recovered.
Yeah, it will be tight, and I think we should, just to protect everybody, understand what Shannon would have to do if we don't get that, and we have to ask for a, what you call it, grant modification. To where in the schedule, if we know we've not heard back from IDEM or something else has happened, we're not gonna make January 23rd. Is there any fluff between January 23rd and
March or?
the loan closing, where a release of funds happens at the end of April? Or does that then automatically trigger us to have to ask for a grant modification to get some more time? A lot of this timeline is prescribed because of the bidding laws and what it takes to open bids and then take them under advisement and then coordinate all the other bonding and coordination with OPRA. So, yeah, but it's very tight and we were surprised too. We're like, wow, that's, wish we'd already started this. There's some stuff in here in the scope. I'll just briefly touch on it. We're doing collection system improvements, pipelining essentially through three or four kind of main trunk lines, one on the south end of town, one behind the school, one in Oxford Street, and one First Street, or near Oxford Street, I should say, and then some treatment plant improvements. One second clarifier, it's the equipment inside of it needs replaced, so it's basically getting new gas, I would call it, but the equipment there. Some electrical improvements. Yeah. Some electrical improvements for variable frequency drives are also included at the plant, and then I think one of the big things is the structure to protect the headworks from having freezing issues during the winter. It's very exposed and it can freeze up overnight, so short of building an entire structure around it, which would get into a whole lot of other ventilation and electrical concerns, it would be more of a screen type of thing. We have in utility coordination and some subsurface utility engineering. We don't think that's going to be big enough. One thing that we will want to communicate with Judd pretty early on is the need or not for easements. Some of these are across the back of the school property. Is there really easement there? All we're doing is lining the pipe, not much different than hammering the pipe. There's some backyards also west of there that we will get into and have access. So we don't have easements in here, and our belief is you don't need them, but we need to verify that before we let a contractor get started. But that's kind of the important stuff, I think. So I'm happy to answer your questions. The amount not to exceed, and this includes items that we may not use, but probably need to be able to, is $200,007.
What was it?
200,700. It does include construction section.
Okay.
And so can you and I work on what we think will hit,
Cash flow,
yes.
yes.
Because I need to prepare that to see if we can borrow money from our other utilities, because we do not have enough money in the wastewater. But if we have enough to borrow to cover BFNS, everybody else is waiting, until bond closing. But of course, none of their expenses are as much as BFNS's expenses, so, but if they wanna hold off, that would be great too.
That's not the first time that was mentioned to them.
Because if we don't have enough to borrow from our other funds, then we'll have to do bond anticipation note, which then raises our finance fees, which raises our bond attorney fees, which raises.
Yeah.
So, if he can work with me on cash flow very quickly, then I can make that, we can make that determination, so.
We can do that.
Need a motion for the design agreement for BFNS for the Oak Grove wastewater project.
I'm good to accept the design agreement for the Oak Grove.
Oh, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Too much. Stacks it all out, blended
Put
together.
them there in the sign pile.
I've got 2 copies of it.
Oh, you
We'll be
did.
signing. And
And then the last thing is on the agenda is the CCD task order. We have a proposed task order for us to assist with the 2026 CCG application window, which opened Wednesday and closes on Halloween.
They're changing that whole schedule too for the next foreseeable future.
And going forward, it'll be in the month of July, and only one call per year with $1 million cap per project, or per LPA, I should say. Our scope on this as proposed includes already completed work for inventory update on previous task order, application assistance to put together the application documents, cost estimates, assist treatment and entering the data on the portal and getting the application complete at this month. Bidding assistance for the selected project, we would like to proceed with that as soon as the application is turned in, because then that also shorten the timeline that you have between when your grant's awarded and when you have to have it under contract from 4 months to 3 months. It truly needs to be shovel-ready projects with major design needs to be done. The construction inspection is also included as a phase. So the amount for those would be application assistance of $4,500, bidding assistance of $12,000, construction inspection not to exceed hourly of $6,400 for a total not to exceed of $22,900. I will say that Treatment and I emailed a little bit on this today. Parallel to this, we talked to Milestone about some patching quotes while they're here paving for the intersection of Oxford and Main. Fairly large patch there, 72 square yards is what we measured when we looked at it with them in the field. South Main from just a couple hundred feet south of 5th Street for about 483 feet south to mill and overlay that. And also we looked at East 2nd Street from where the concrete asphalt transition is, not the concrete, but patching that last 300 and almost 50 feet of,
Where the gravel is.
well, it's not gravel yet, but
Second Street.
About 7th Street.
Second Street.
I was on the wrong street.
a full depth patch there. And then also from previous conversations with the town, looking at 7th Street from from Central to Main. That was the 4 locations, right? So pricing that we got on these, one was just a budgetary type of price, but the other 2 are pretty high, surprising that it was so high. So the thought would be to include those 3 locations as well as 7th Street into the 2026 CCMG application. I looked a little bit based on what budget numbers Treva was able to share with me and other options. Flug Road Phase 1 and Phase 2, the total construction dollars for that is somewhere around 750,000. There's other soft costs that would be needed to cover that. We would need survey and probably more involved design for that, but just as an order of magnitude, that's close to what your budget could afford this year. It's the size of a project that's almost 700,000. So I would recommend to do the patching project this year and then save up funds if possible to look at 2027. That would give us more time to start on the design and have that project shovel ready, you know, midsummer, July, August, September, somewhere in there to have that ready to bid. And then once the awards are granted, have the bidding process start. And
For Flug.
for a year from now.
Yeah. Okay.
So the 2027 call.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be then constructed in the summer of 27, if all that, you know, came to fruition.
So my question, with them going to the once a year in July, of course, that is their fiscal year, that is not our fiscal year.
Right.
So that window is still gonna be, if applications are July, we're still gonna have to have that under contract by the end of the year.
Probably.
So then we are still looking at $2026 for us,
Correct.
not
So it
2026.
may have to be 28.
Depending on the timing of how they award the awards, just based off the history, January was usually April and July was usually in like October, early November. If that panned out, you could bid it in January and use whatever you had saved for 26 as well as budgeted for 27, I think is where you're.
Yeah, like will we be able to not spend the funds, because until I collect the funds, I don't know how to spend it until 27.
I don't think they'll be necessarily faster than what they have in the past. But they might with one call a year, but they're gonna be everybody applying.
Dealing with everybody.
Right, instead of having 2 rounds, they're gonna have one huge round. So I can't imagine it'll be any faster, because they're gonna have, maybe not double the applications in every July, but they're gonna have 75-80% of what they normally would see in 2. So they've not been clear on what to expect for timing of the announcement.
Of course not.
Which that makes it then, like you're getting too hard to know, funding it. Strategy you gotta come up with, so,
Maybe we'll hear more as this one unfolds.
true.
Mm-hmm.
But just to reiterate, our task order was more written on the scope of doing a patching and small overlay on a short list of half a dozen less streets.
So with that though, do you have those costs in front of you? Like what that overall, the 300, it'll be 380?
Yeah, it'll be, it's a range right now, but it's, 330 to 360, 365 to do those for a total construction cost, and you have to have 20% of that to match it.
And we're fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
You read my mind.
No, we actually had more than our 20%, that's why I say him, like, is there anything else we can add? And he was like, you should just do these 4 and save the extra for the following.
Carry it over to the
And
next.
we mentioned South Main and taking on like what was programmed to be like phase 4 from 5th to 6th Street, and that really is more of a stormwater solution. And getting the next stormwater project in that area of town to take water east and not send more water to the HW Moore. We could do a short section of pipe, but I'm hesitant to do that because it'll never
Go anywhere.
you know, that'll never be undone type of thing. And it's already at capacity.
But I think all the patches that we're gonna be doing are all very needed patches in town.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think, and then adding central,
Or at least a lot of
7.
people, at least if we do those.
Yeah. Because the one on Main Street down there is getting bad, and it's only gonna get worse this fall, because their trucks are already running, and sometimes you think you can hear it go as they go across it.
Mhm.
So, all right, I need a motion to have the task order for the 2026 CCMG assistant for BFNS.
I'll make a motion for that task force.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I think that's all I have unless there are other questions. Good enough.
I was like, money.
A lot of info there, Dave.
Oh, it's neat to see the trail coming together.
It is.
Yes,
Amazing.
finally.
I will, we want a ribbon cutting when the trail is done.
Hopefully the weather stays the same.
I don't care.
We got.
If I have to be out there in a jacket and earmuffs, I'll be out there in jacket and earmuffs.
It's already been in use, I've seen out how many people walking
Walking on the stone.
on the gravel. So
Sacred
at least
road.
they're not in the street.
Yeah. All right, Tim,
Hello.
he's passing out.
Wake up. Yes. I just have a couple things. The first one we're passing around is, I went, and we've done an average fee structure for 11 communities, pretty much similar to the size of Otterman, a couple of them a little bit bigger. And this is what we came up with. Next time I'll have this in your hands 2 days before the meeting, so you have a chance to review it. Obviously, we're not gonna change anything today or anything, but this is giving us an idea. And what I'd like to do is put another spreadsheet together to show what we're charging for these things now, so you have a comparison to see. One of the biggest things that I found is like the very top one, the single family, it's $200 plus 10 cents per square foot, where ours right now is a maximum of $200. So,
This is for what?
Permit.
oh, this is for all of your
Permits
permits fees.
to build.
Yes.
Okay.
So for the next meeting, again, I'll have a spreadsheet so you can do a comparison to where we are currently.
Have you already took this through whichever APC, BZA?
I have not yet, no.
Because it has to go
Has to
through
go there
them
first,
first, and
yes.
then they make recommendations.
Correct.
Okay.
I don't want to put this in your hand, but this is one of the things we've been working on, is getting that fee structure so we can see where we are compared to what other communities are, so.
This is APZ, isn't it?
One of the other things that I accomplished for you guys before, it was on Tuesday, for the NDOT annual goals and accomplishments for ADA and Title VI.
Okay.
They're all
We have
sent
to
in.
have the Title VI thing.
Yes, so it was I don't know what it is, it's like a 32-page document. So I email it to Trina and Dee, so they've got a copy of it, so it is in their hands that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing. So, and with that, one of the other things that we are doing now is when we have our safety meetings, we're also incorporating the ADA and Title VI meetings at the same time. Everybody is on our committee for ADA. So that way, it's listed in the report that way that everybody's on the committee. We're all working on this together, moving forward to get it done.
Do we need to adopt that at any point? No?
We've already adopted it, and he's updated.
Updated.
Yes, we're in the process of updating all of our documents for Title VI, your grievance procedures, your implementation plan, which is in place. 2019 is when you guys signed off on it, and we're just gonna update all the paperwork, so, and we are staying on top of all that stuff.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to the fee structure, but it's in regards to that situation. And after listening to Jim talk, most of the communities that, with your inspection programs and all, they require all your contractors to get a permit to be bonded. It may be something that we want to take a look at. And the bonding, what it does is they bond it with their insurance company. And if they end up not finishing a project, the bond company will come in and finish it at their expense and not that we all of a sudden have a property sitting here.
I think
So
that's a good idea. I mean,
it's pretty inexpensive.
It's kind of common sense, when you think about it in the long term.
So that's something we'll also take to APC to say this is something that we want to add to that, that anybody that's, myself included, that, we would have a bond with you, through my insurance company, so.
So if I need to remove my house, I have to get a permit,
Yeah.
You, right now, you don't know.
but I will in the future.
Well, once if that gets adopted to, approved to APC and then you guys adopt it, yes.
To re-roof.
Most places do.
Yep.
Really?
Mhm.
You'd be amazed how many places that I've gone in the last year that ask me to go in and do an inspection, and they're not correct. The biggest thing are the crickets on the roof, which is if you have a chimney,
Right.
when it comes down, you have to build the crickets to push the water away from it so it doesn't sit, that they don't
I mean,
build
I can
those.
understand decks and demolitions and additions, but when it's not changing the structure of the house.
We just wanna make sure they're doing things correctly.
Okay.
For the bonding, I think it would be like bigger projects, not like, decks and,
Yeah.
would
This,
it just be like major house, like new housing?
it's whatever you wanna make it.
Yeah, I wanna redo my deck sometime. I mean, if there's a deck there, but it needs, new boards and everything on it, I have to have a permit.
Yep.
So that, okay.
Whatever you do.
Yep.
You have to have a permit.
Yep.
And how does the bonding affect, DIY? So if I'm gonna be doing it
You don't
myself,
have to worry about it.
Brand new
If it's your own project,
house. That, okay.
you staff have to permit if we accept these, but we wouldn't,
yes.
you don't have to worry about
She
bonding.
said,
Okay.
roofs and siding,
Yes.
that's stuff.
Yeah, the bonding is, as Amy said, is more for your bigger projects. That somebody's doing a roof addition, somebody's building a new house, somebody's putting up a new building structure. Because what we don't want is that all of a sudden they walk away. And you hear about it all the time, that, you guys talked earlier about contractors are more asking for money up front,
Mhm.
and then they walk away. They got somebody's money and they walk away. Well, if you've got if they have an insurance bond, we then go back to the bonding company to say, this project needs to be completed, so.
I can see that for like major projects, but
Yeah,
not decks and.
Especially with the new.
Yeah.
Resolution, I mean.
Oh, yeah, with the down payments, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not doing my deck myself.
See, that's
You
why.
would just need a permit, you wouldn't need the bond.
Okay, right,
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
You can do it yourself.
right,
yeah, now,
okay.
Just something like,
then the only other thing that I have right now is, did you guys receive anything from Judd on the changes of the contract with the tower company?
I saw an
yes,
email
he sent
saying that.
email. Yeah,
I saw the email, but I didn't see where he was saying this was,
yes, but he didn't, nothing else besides that.
the only thing I got on response from him was he was in some seminar or whatever, and there was never another response to say he likes the wording in his contract.
There was something that I did.
Tower contract
Yes.
language.
Because the first one went out, he had a few things in there that he didn't agree with, and
Right.
come back to us and said,
Yes, he basically forwarded us the emails that you had with him and Derek.
Derek.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So I did see,
and he says, I don't know if having a revised lease to consider October 2nd will suffice, but I'll ask if they send a revised lease incorporating their proposed revisions to you soon to consider.
well, I think that came on Friday.
How long it was.
Yeah, something to that, yeah.
We received, I believe it was Friday, from Derek, the revisions. That's when,
Yeah,
that was
I
just between the three of us. And I haven't seen anything from Judd to say,
That
Other than he was
particular
out of office.
email was sent on 9/25,
Mhm.
so.
so.
I know one of the big things when Judd and I talked was, how can you tell us you can't put up another tower on a
Yeah,
piece of
that
property?
was the language I think he was most
Well, then
concerned with.
then the one message said, if we
And the
can't
50-year thing.
approve it by now, then they may just pull out completely, and that's, there's other companies.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
And I think it was that and it was the 50-year.
correct.
50-year.
Yes.
I think those are the two things he
Can't
commented.
for 50 years.
No.
So
It's a long time
Yeah.
ago.
So we'll just,
I'll get with them tomorrow and I'll get with Derek tomorrow and see where we are.
So they did say that they would be willing to reduce the lease term, but not below 35 years.
Right.
I think you should have an option like every 10, if not every 5.
Well, every 5 years if they up it, but you know, at that point you have.
Yeah.
Rights to do what you want to, but.
Yeah.
I'll get with Derek tomorrow.
Okay.
And we can talk, and then I'll just report back.
Okay.
If they're gonna pull out, then pull out, so. This isn't something that, we started this in July, but it's not something we say, oh, let's just run outside a contract today.
Right.
Especially for that one. All right, anything else?
The last thing I had was, I did go to the courthouse, Benton County Courthouse, and I have 112 pages of what all our easements are throughout the whole entire town. So, oh yeah, and I forgot. I have talked to Wendy Estep from Mainstream to find out where they're at. And they're still waiting on Duke to give them their permits to go on the pole.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, Duke had to replace some poles, and they wouldn't give the permit until that was done, so.
Are they close to replacing the poles? Okay.
Duke
They
is
said
a
it would
very
be-
slow mover.
I know.
They said it would be September, October, but my question was, to her was, why are we not at least doing the underground stuff
Right.
at this point, so.
I've had so many people ask me about that.
We do.
Mainstream coming, when is Mainstream coming?
4 years ago,
Exactly, exactly.
that's what I have.
Okay.
Thanks, Tim.
Teresa? 2025 budget reduction.
2025 budget reduction. So, the only one we have this year is because we didn't have such a big NDOT grant in 2025. I had requested a big budget for 2025. And so now we need to reduce that amount down by $138,521 because we didn't get that grant funds. So to make the budget work for next year and get it approved, we gotta reduce this year's by $138,521. And that's only because we didn't get grants, which means we didn't request. We didn't, it was just, at budget time, we're just guesstimating we're just guesstimating.
Is that a number?
Huh?
Does that ordinance have a number?
Yes, ordinance 2025-1002B.
I'll make a motion to reduce the budget reduction for 2025-1002B.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay, if you guys remember back in the spring, we had a pump go down at the wastewater plant and it was non-repairable, so we took one off the shelf, put it in, ordered the new one. When the new one came in, we put it in so that we wasn't going to lose any warranty if it happened because the warranty starts. When we pulled out the one that was on the shelf that we had in the pit, we decided to have it gone through by Flukes to see if that one needed rebuilt. And so they came back and said to rebuild the one, which would require new seals, bearings, impeller oil, and shop labor. The estimated cost for rebuild is $1,875, so that we have a spare sitting on the shelf, which we need to have. Otherwise, we need to purchase a new one to sit on the shelf, which is $7,905. So, Kitty and I both would just recommend rebuilding the one we've got since it can be rebuilt and have that one sitting as the spare on the shelf.
Yes.
You need a motion for that?
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion to, redo the old pump for $1,875.
I'll second.
Did you write down?
Craig.
Craig.
I was like, I heard that.
I was like, flip a coin. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Okay, so, we have a quote from Houston, so the guys got, Jim Kirkhoff and the guys got the trench ran for the water and the electric this week down at the park. The electric, they did the wiring and so all Houston needs to do is, hook it at both ends. And part of that, hooking it to the plant, they have to go into the plant and run some more conduit and that kind of stuff. However, the price came in at $2,585, and Tim Kirkhoff and Russell thinks that we either need to understand that more or get some different quotes, because they both seem to think that that's kind of high.
So then I say we table it.
So we can either table it or we can do a not to exceed this amount.
You wanna do it not, do you think a not to exceed?
What do you think it should cost? I mean, Doc, what do you think? Do you have any idea?
So they're coming out and just connecting. The wires already ran.
Mhm.
They need to run
It's been
some
trenched,
conduit.
it's been run, they gotta connect on both ends.
What about the conduit? I don't think the conduit inside is gonna.
No, they would be doing the conduit inside,
Inside
but I
the
think we need to understand what that is, and is that something we too could have done? This is the first I heard this stuff had to be ran inside the plant, so. So we can either table it and get more quotes over the next 2 weeks, or,
I would get a couple of more bids, or, because we don't even know whether to put not to exceed 2,000, because we don't even know how much that's gonna be, but that seems high just to connect. I don't know.
I don't know what conduit costs, but
What do you think, Dave?
I think it's high.
I don't know if
Probably
I know
is.
about what's.
Yeah.
So
Tim
all
over
we,
there
so there was
shaking
no,
his
you have a copy of the quote?
I do, right here. I emailed it to you guys.
What do you
too.
think, Tim?
Sure.
I would go with you, I would say at least get a couple more quotes, it's not like it has to
Furnish
be
and
done today.
install 1.5 EMT conduit inside water
Is
plant
it high?
from south exterior wall to the NCC gear.
Yes, no,
Furnish and
I mean,
install
it's always high when you
PVC
do it yourself.
conduit
I mean,
Yeah.
for a new electrical panel.
someone's installing a bathroom.
Located in
fan
the
for
outbuilding.
$900.
So we've already got the electrical panel, we're just doing that to get it there. Furnish and install.
Does it include the wire or not include wire?
Install
the wire's
wiring
already
once
there.
the conduit is complete, but we've already put in the wire.
the wire's
Between
there.
The wire's in the ground, they just gotta get the wire into the conduit and then.
Yeah, they just gotta get
Unless they were going through the wall and putting it in like a junction box, tying it on the outside to go. But, I mean, if the wire's already through the floor, then you're just running a conduit up the wall and.
Tim Kirkhoff thought it was high too, right? And this money's coming out of his park fund thing, so I think if
He
Tim
said-
Kirkhoff think it's too high.
He said he thought it seemed high, but thought we should really understand what went into these
Estimates.
numbers, cause he didn't.
Well, of course, he doesn't probably want to wait for us to get a couple more estimates, he
But-
probably just wants it done.
But
Well, he
he's
was
gonna
the
have
one who was like, I'm not sure about that.
Okay, well, then I say,
I mean, when you
So
say
then
the
what
wire's
is
already
this?
there, I would be like,
Yeah.
that seems.
I would say get a couple more estimates,
so table it,
just compare.
get more estimates.
8 hours work at $150 an hour, times two. Probably 2 employees, that puts you over $2,000 pretty quick. 2,500.
Just for the labor,
Well, if they're charging $150 an hour for,
and they probably are.
it's probably relatively close.
So we might get a couple more estimates, it might only be
It'll
$200.
at least get us, it'd be nice to have a breakdown of the estimate from Jeff, finding out what it's, what it
And at
was.
least having 2 or 3 quotes, we're still on the same guideline, right, with the same,
That would also, I guess I would think if,
and we normally,
back in my day of doing the electrical work, you do that in time and material, and it wouldn't even be an estimate.
Right.
it'd be a guesstimate, and then you'd be tying material anyway.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ask, is it something you'd want to approve that amount, or if you get something from somebody else that's a lot lower, or do you have to still bring that back and say,
That's why I was like a not to exceed that amount, but I think we can just, it's that 2 weeks is not gonna delay it. I mean, even
I think you
if
can wait 2 weeks on getting a couple quotes.
Yeah, the other side of that is, should we have gotten more than one quote on this in the first
Yes.
place? Shouldn't we have gotten more than?
Yes.
at least
He,
ask?
he should have asked a couple people to,
Right.
Normally, we ask the guys at least for 2 to 3
Yeah.
when they're
On
researching these.
anything.
And does it need to be advertised? Or is this not, is this
Less
listed?
than 10 grand.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a money for
Okay.
advertising. So we'll table it, get a couple more estimates.
10,000. Advertise for 10,000. That doesn't fall in that category. So, those quotes, claims, and, so the claims, for heaven's sake, but I'll have an addition to that, or we'll get two motions.
General 16,188.62, donations, parks, 2,077.78, Audubon Utilities, 90,636.10, ARP, Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Grant Fund, that's the too big of a number, 2222-94792, water operating, 18,559.47, wastewater treatment operating, 18,566.38, stormwater utility operating, 2,191.93, payroll, 28,938.32, for a grand total of 400,106.50.
I make a motion to approve the claims.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? This is the agenda.
So that one, that set of claims did include pay app 1 for the Studebaker milestone bill. It did include that. The pay app for the CCMG project, it does not include that because we have to have invoices in my office 5 days ahead, or I can't, they have to be dated 5 days ahead of the meeting, or I can't pay them. However, you guys did approve this, and so I would like just a motion that we can, once the 5 days is hit, I can cut the check. So that then now we need 2 more weeks for that payment. It's just that the milestone was dated August 30th, and this one for flu was dated September 30th.
Yeah.
So,
Blue drive to pay after 5 days.
Monday.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Linda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
That's too much stuff.
okay. We had our 2-week project, or 2 weeks staff meeting today. And the big discussion that came up, that, not that we need to make any decisions tonight, but get some thoughts out there, and get some thoughts from you. The trail will be opening fairly soon. And, so we need an ordinance on the trail on how that's going to be utilized. So with Jason and the guys, of course, and I'm sure this was the intent, that the ordinance will read that there's no golf carts allowed on the trail, there's no vehicles allowed on the trail, that it's gotta be for pedestrian bikes. We talked about electric bikes. Jason don't see a problem with electric bikes. So,
He's not on campus very often, then, is
Except
he?
they move at 30 miles an hour.
so,
Walkers.
That's what I'm saying, you're not on campus.
I know.
and so, there's, the signage that says no golf carts, ATVs, vehicles. We'll need to get signage up, we'll need to get signage ordered. The ballards, those were not part of the project, correct?
Correct.
Correct. So they were talking that we need ballards, whether they're the solid concrete, they prefer the breakaway kind that, you know, if the guys need to get on the trail with a piece of equipment, we can take it down. They were looking at the kind that
Fold out.
fold out, yeah, thank you. They were thinking that both sides of the bridge, at the grocery store, both sides of Flug, and is there anywhere else we can go? And we'll
The
need stop
church.
signs.
We stopped the
Church, yeah.
Okay, church.
farmer driveway. I don't know how much a ballard costs, but I know they're not cheap.
Well, I mean, you'd be able just do one side of the driveway. You want to do both for like the park area. You just have to get it going past the trail.
So, anyway, so we need some, we'll need the ATVs, we'll need stop signs. They were talking and wanted Dave's input. So on Flug, where traffic's gonna cross the trail, if we should have a sign up Flug that says pedestrian crossing ahead. Is it a requirement, but it would be a safety thing that we maybe should consider?
Yeah, yeah, if you have, for sure, just perceived problem that you know you're gonna have a problem, or if it's a wait and see, and then, yeah, this is, when there's no corn up, it's probably not much of a problem when there's corn up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we need one down there for like Audubon Foods?
No, because they don't cross the traffic.
And there's pavement markings and stuff, or stuff.
So it's only Flug that actually crosses the path of the trail. Or the trail crosses the path of the.
And I can see the golf carts going to drive right now.
Oh, yeah.
know it.
If we had a valley, they won't be able to.
Exactly.
See, I was,
I mean, they'll
go around and
get out on the grass, but I mean, they're up for a purpose.
so the ordinance needs to read what we're allowing, what we're not allowing.
I would say walkers and bicycles,
Okay.
otherwise it's gonna.
And I have to interject, because you also have to allow, from an ADA, OPDMD, which is other power-driven mobility devices.
Mobility scooters.
You
Well,
But I'd rather see a mobility scooter on there than one without people too, like they're currently
well,
doing.
yeah, wheelchairs and mobility chairs or whatever like that, absolutely, but.
And that's why we were just thinking at this point, we would just do the golf carts, ATVs, vehicles. And then if we see issues with other things, then we can always amend and go forward, but,
I'd rather see a motorized scooter than a motorized bicycle. Because the motorized scooters on campus are still sketchy, like they'll still run your ass over. But those bicycles, they come hauling and they come fast and they'll take out scooters.
well, it just depends on the kind, because some don't go that fast and some do.
Yeah.
And then Jason's like, well, I'm not gonna be able to look at one of those
Right.
bikes to know. But if they're a slow one, you still want them off the main road.
Yes.
So that's why we were like, well, maybe we allow them unless we see that they become a problem.
Yeah.
At the.
Start with allowing them and then.
It's a
I mean,
problem.
you could always have like a bicycle speed limit too. And he could clock that.
5 miles an hour.
So is it wide enough to have a specific bike lane?
It's,
That's why I say I'm worried about
It's 10 feet wide.
the motorized
But
bike.
when you're on there, you have walking, somebody bring you over.
They do on campus,
So Jason is gonna get some samples from like West Lafayette, and I think we heard Remington has a trail. We weren't sure how many small communities had trails that we could go get their, grab their ordinance and see what other people are doing.
Look at the Motor Trail.
Mower on bike, does Battleground
See
have
what
one?
town of Whitestown has, they got a lot of trails.
So- We're trying to get all that gathered, but I also wanted you to hear what we were saying in a meeting while it was fresh in our head, to get your input as well.
We do have a snow, we have a snowplow for,
No.
no, we don't have a
No.
snowplow.
So,
I
I'll
didn't
bring
know
my
if we
four-wheeler out, I got a snowplow.
so
For the
that,
rain date.
so that was the question. We were thinking that with the weight restrictions. Cause the only thing we have right now is the,
Okay.
yes, the Bobcat, but there was the bridge, they thought the bridge was a concern, the John Deere, that's what they think that they would be better used, but we would need to get a plow for it. So
And the decking material is something to consider too. about
that's what he was talking about, the decking material.
It's that Trex type of stuff you might damage it. It's just.
So, anyway, obviously, we cannot, when that road blows the way it does, we're not gonna be able to keep it open anyway.
No.
But there is a lot of winter that you only get a little snow, that people are gonna wanna use it. So we just wondered what your all's thought were, and what kind of equipment is going to be acceptable, because then we're gonna see what that equipment costs, because we don't have the equipment to use it. It just depends on what it costs.
Yeah.
What's that?
You know, they do have those shovels, you know.
I know. Shovel your own path.
Kind of a snow blower for town hall.
The little one.
That probably work, kind of work for just the bridge,
Oh,
not,
just for
not
the
the
bridge.
whole length, I can say that.
Give them shovels.
That's what Linda said.
I'm gonna get a volunteer to shovel.
Well, I mean, the bridge wouldn't be bad to shovel.
No.
That was right on.
So anyway,
Some might fall through the,
so you're saying that
It's gonna be slick, but nice.
we probably shouldn't take the, which we didn't think we should, the Bobcat cost.
not because of the
Really
weight,
should.
because of the blade on the deck. I mean, it's they replaceable, but
Right, we don't have to.
damage
No, it's
potential.
expensive.
We had to give it,
But I mean,
side by side.
What?
Jason has the side by side, get a plow for it.
Well, we have a John Deere, the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Got you.
And that's why, when I asked about when I hadn't seen the equipment list, which I always see the equipment list, I was like, then he listed the Polaris, but he wasn't listing our other piece, and I'm like, what other kind of equipment was that used? I need to see that list.
Please.
That's just weird, I didn't even know they had done the inventory, because I'm always included, and I
Mhm.
wasn't included this year for whatever reason. So,
Okay. Anything else?
Have we heard anything about the case?
so I sent the one-page thing to the Indiana Bond Bank, and, they look at that, and then they came back and said, okay, what you're buying and the terms that you are wanting meet our criteria, now fill out this long application.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's what
So you went from one page to,
Yeah,
one
I haven't
application
even
anyways.
opened up the long one to see what it is. So,
Okay. Anything else?
I'm trying to think. No,
What is the process for adding ordinances?
what is the process? You just bring up what you you want an ordinance on or want it to be discussed before we do an ordinance. And then we discuss it, and if we think we need it, we do it.
Just curious.
Judd normally reviews all the ordinances.
And, well, he's the one who usually writes it.
Right, yeah.
But we bring up the topic, we discuss it, and then if we think that it's something we wanna move forward with, then that's what we do. And then depending on what that is, it may take one reading, it may take two readings.
If there's money involved or fines, it's usually two.
Yep.
Except budget, we don't have to do for budget. Or salary ordinance, it's so weird.
They need a motion to adjourn at 7:05.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 7:05.
Also,
Brad. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Get your pins ready, got signing things tonight.